I always thought I'd be the first person to step onto a new planet, to explore the unknown and make history. But when the portal opened up in front of me, I never could have predicted where it would take me. I was sitting in my lab, studying the latest data from our probes, when the portal suddenly appeared. It was a shimmering, iridescent disk floating in midair, about 6 feet in diameter. At first, I thought I was hallucinating, or that it was some kind of prank, but as I got closer, I realized that it was real. Without really thinking, I stepped through the portal, and suddenly everything changed. I found myself in a completely different place, surrounded by strange creatures and landscapes that I couldn't even begin to describe. The air was thick and humid, and the sky was a deep shade of purple. I stumbled forward, disoriented, and suddenly I heard a voice in my head. It was a strange alien voice, but somehow I could understand it.
Greetings, traveler. You have entered the portal. What is your purpose here?
I was speechless, but after a moment I managed to stammer out a reply. I don't know, I didn't mean to come here. I was just curious. The voice paused for a moment as if considering my answer.
Very well. You may explore this world, but be warned. There are dangers here that you cannot imagine. Use caution and do not stray too far from the portal.
With that, the voice fell silent, and I was left alone in this alien world. I wandered around for hours, marveling at the strange flora and fauna around me. There were towering trees with glowing leaves, and tiny creatures that flitted around like fireflies. But as the sun began to set, I realized that I needed to find a place to rest. I stumbled across a clearing with a small pool of water, and I settled down beside it to try to get some sleep. But as I closed my eyes, I heard a rustling in the bushes behind me. I turned around, and I saw a pair of glowing eyes staring back at me. I tried to stand up, but my legs wouldn't move. I was paralyzed with fear as the creature stepped out of the shadows. It was like nothing I had ever seen before, a massive, hulking beast with razor-sharp teeth and claws. I was sure it was going to kill me, but just as it was about to pounce, a bright light appeared, blinding both me and the creature. When the light dissipated, I saw a figure standing in front of me, a humanoid figure with glowing blue eyes and a strange, angular face.
Come with me if you want to live.
The figure led me through the jungle, evading the dangerous creatures that lurked in the shadows. We eventually arrived at a small, hidden cave, where the figure introduced themselves as an alien ambassador from a nearby planet.
You've stumbled across a portal that connects multiple dimensions. This world is known as the realm of nightmares, and it is considered extremely dangerous. You're lucky to be alive.
I didn't know what to say. I had always dreamed of encountering alien life, but I never thought it would be like this. The ambassador showed me a way back to the portal, and I stepped back through, returning to my lab. But I couldn't stop thinking about what I had seen and experienced. It was like a whole new world had opened up to me, one that I never could have imagined. I spent the next few days obsessively researching the portal and the realm of nightmares. I couldn't get the experience out of my head, and I knew that I had to go back. With the ambassador's guidance, I started to prepare for my next journey. I studied maps and learned how to defend myself against the creatures that lived in the realm of nightmares. I also developed a special suit that would protect me from the extreme environment. Finally, I was ready. I stepped back through the portal, feeling a rush of excitement and fear as I emerged in the alien world once again. This time, I was more confident and prepared. I explored deeper into the jungle, discovering strange ruins and ancient artifacts that hinted at a civilization that had long since disappeared. I encountered more dangerous creatures, but with my suit and weapons, I was able to defend myself. As I continued my journey, I began to notice that the environment around me was changing. The trees were growing taller, and the air was getting thinner. The sky was no longer purple, but instead a brilliant shade of blue. I realized that I was no longer in the realm of nightmares. I had entered a new dimension. The creatures here were different. Some were friendly and curious, while others were hostile and territorial. I learned to communicate with them and to navigate this new world. And as I explored further, I discovered something truly incredible. In the center of this dimension, there was a massive structure unlike anything I had ever seen before. It was a glowing, pulsing network of energy and matter, and it seemed to be the source of all life in this dimension. I realized that this was the reason why the portal had opened up, to allow me to discover this incredible place. I spent weeks exploring the structure, documenting its properties and studying its effects on the world around it. And when I was finally ready to leave, I knew that I had discovered something truly groundbreaking. As I stepped back through the portal and returned to my lab, I couldn't wait to share my discoveries with the world. I knew that this was just the beginning of a new era of exploration and discovery, one that I was honored to be a part of. I spent months analyzing the data I had collected and refining my theories about the structure in the new dimension. I presented my findings at conferences and was met with both skepticism and awe. But as more and more researchers began to replicate my experiments and observations, the scientific community began to accept the reality of this new discovery. With this breakthrough, space exploration took on a new purpose. Instead of just looking for new planets to colonize, we were now searching for other dimensions and alternate realities. The portal technology was refined and improved, and teams of explorers were sent out on expeditions to map the unknown. I continued to lead the charge, constantly seeking out new frontiers and pushing the boundaries of our understanding. And as we made more discoveries, it became clear that the universe was far more complex and wondrous than we had ever imagined. But as our knowledge grew, so too did our responsibility. We realized that we were not just explorers, but stewards of this incredible universe, and we vowed to use our knowledge and technology to protect and preserve the wonders that we had uncovered, ensuring that future generations would have the same opportunities to discover and explore. And as I looked back on my journey, I realized that it had all started with a single step through a portal, a step that had changed my life and the course of human history forever.